Well, hello there. This is RJBT from RJBT, and today we've got Byul against GangNamLife coming right up. Both of us to watch and enjoy. Let's see what's gonna happen. We've got Byul here on the barcode. I really think this is Byul here on the barcode, and he's on the bottom right corner of the map. And his opponent, GangNamLife, here on the top middle of the map on the red Protoss. What is going to happen? Both these players, I'd say, are about equal levels of skill. So it is very difficult to say that this game is either going to go to Byul's direction or GangNamLife's direction. What I do know is that both these players are arguably playing on their best races. GangNamLife is absolutely insane on both Terran and Protoss. His Zerg is also very high level, but considering Zerg is always at a disadvantage at this very high level, it is sometimes difficult to get a good idea of how good his Zerg really is, because I also haven't seen his Zerg all that often, but I've seen his Zerg beat players like Liboku in Zerg against Terran, and I think I've seen him win a Zerg against Protoss, against Hamburger Sasu even. GangNamLife all around really is an absolutely amazing player. You could consider him to be a top 10 player in fastest map history. Byul, on the other hand, a semi-professional player who has qualified and played in the ASL. He has a lot of experience, like about as much experience as you could want from anyone, in both professional play and in fastest map play. Although he largely played, for a very long time, just 2v2 and 3v3 with other semi-professional players and other top-level fastest players. So he is, I'd say, more so a 2v2 player, but his 1 versus 1 has, over the past year, since 2021 January, developed so much, you could argue he is one of the very best 1 versus 1 players as well. He mostly focuses on very smart play with, I'd argue, some of the best micro you will probably find on fastest map. But he is not one of the very fast players. He really relies on his micro, his thinking ability, like he plays very smart and precise and plans things out very well. GangNamLife is kind of the same. Very good micro, very good unit control, great multitasking, plays very fast for the first 10 minutes, like really fast, like 400 APM consistently, and then he starts to slow down to about 250 or below 250 APM after the 10-minute mark. And he starts to play very smart, focused, with attention to detail and planning as well. So both players are kind of the same in a lot of regards, in a lot of aspects of their gameplay. But Byul has a background as a semi-professional, and I think GangNamLife is largely just a fastest map Gosu. So in an overall sense, in how good is he at StarCraft in all of his aspects, I'd say Byul is better in all aspects because he was one of the best normal map players. And in GangNamLife, I don't know much more about him, but for as far as I know, he wasn't one of the best normal map players at any time in his StarCraft career. He starts off with a double Gateway Nexus Cybercore Forge build order, cannon coming up in the front, Citadel in the back, and a robotics in the front as well. Robotics number 2 should soon be on the way for him as well, whereas Byul went for double barracks into command center, into academy, and another barracks. This is an interesting build order. So you're gonna snipe that factory SCV there, a new SCV there immediately being placed on the factory. There is no engineering bay yet, got triple medic there on the way, and stim as well. He's pushing back on those marines. GangNamLife stopped producing zealots for I think 2 or 3 rounds of zealot production. So the amount of zealots he has is a little bit lower, but it has allowed him to speed up the process of progressing his technology. So double rope in the front, only a single cannon. He's cutting it close to the edge. He wants to use as little minerals as possible to defend himself against that marine push. But now that the marine push has grown in size, there's more marines, more medics, he's pulling back to his choke because he knows I probably have to pull back to not lose the zealots, and I probably need a couple more cannons there on my choke, because Byul might try to break through. Byul might try to break through. He has not lost a single Marine yet, just one SCV, and I think one Zealot went down as well. But he's kept most of them alive. So both players have done a really good job of keeping almost all of their units alive. The micro there on display from Byul is absolutely great once again. But the cannon in the back there finishing up just in time is going to make sure Byul is not going to break through. So Byul tried, killed a bunch of Zealots, but couldn't get on top of the cannons, which means, of course, he cannot get into the base itself. And that was ultimately his plan. But GangNamLife has played against a lot of Terrans of this level many times before. He's not gonna let a simple attack like that catch him off guard. He knows exactly what to do with the least possible. And that, I believe, is definitely what sets these players apart from everyone else. Knowing how to do what you have to do with the least possible. It just gives you such a huge advantage over anyone who doesn't know what to do and how to do it with the least possible. Because it just gives you a lot more breathing room, a lot more possibilities to catch your opponent off guard with a great attack. So third command center on the way. Siege mode finished up, tank in the front, Double Reaver finishing up their GangNamLife's choke. He's not going in yet though. He waited, I'd say about 10 or 15 seconds more. They should have. He's got shuttle speed there on the way. Dragoon range is on the way as well. Got a small gateway army there balling up in the front. Might go for frontal attack, but already kills the SCV. That's just because he doesn't want to lose the SCV to a mind control, which can happen if the SCV is outside of the base. He just doesn't want to take a risk, so he kills it. So double tank there in the front. Dragoons on the side, denying floating structures or raids from getting extra vision. Byul is scanning quite a bit to keep track of what's happening there in the front. GangNamLife decides against going for a frontal attack with the Reaver Zealot, and instead wants to go for a big shuttle drop with triple shuttle as his very first attack on his opponent. Although you could consider the Zealot pressure from earlier as an attack, but it's more so meant to just be a little bit annoying and keep Marines away from the choke that hasn't been built yet at that point in the game. Yeah, GangNamLife spending his money exceptionally well. He's always on low minerals, always building something, always upgrading something, always doing something with the units and the money he's been spending. So comes in there on the bottom side, Double Reaver unloading. Reaver's gonna try to go for the tank. Can't quite build a tank. Oh, he kills most of the Marines there though, which allows those Zealots to clean up the rest. A lot of units there went down for Byul. Tank spawns right in between the middle of all the Zealots, but manages to micro its way out of there. Marines coming from the top side to clear out the bottom side, and it works like a charm. Those more Marines are still going down, and then a tank shot there from the back is also assisting in killing some of those Marines. And that was small attack in the front, although the shuttle there in the air is party pooping, cannot unload behind the bunker wall. And that attack in the front there from GangNamLife, while a great idea, didn't work out, because Byul was prepared for it. The idea wasn't wrong, Byul just over-prepared in the front. He tried to distract on the bottom corner, kill a lot of units, and maybe progress towards the SCVs, and then attack in the front while units from the front were maybe defending in the back. But GangNamLife's assessment was incorrect. And he's still spending his money better than anyone else I've ever seen in my life. Look at his minerals, never ever really going above 300. Now they are though, but it took him like 9 minutes into the game for his minerals to go above 300. He is spending really, really well and covering all of his weaknesses at the same time. And an attack there is already being prepared. Is a triple shuttle drop with 4 Corsairs. The Corsairs, of course, there to assist and escort those shuttles into the base against the turrets, but maybe to also kill that right there in the air, although it looks like Byul is mostly focusing on Marine protection. He's got 5 barracks, triple factory. It's going to be a tank Marine defense against those drop. Drop comes in there from the northern side, flies in. Marines are not responding, a little bit slow there. Byul didn't notice this is coming in, and now he's finding himself with Templars in his backside of the base. Storms on the SCVs, kills a bunch of them. A triple storm in total, so he killed 3. He's morphing into an Archon, so I cannot see at the moment. That one killed 2, so that's 5. This one killed... I can't click on it. Okay, that one killed nothing. So yeah, I think he killed about, I'd say 14, like 14, maybe 15 SCVs went down. It's not a lot, but it is enough for now, because doing any damage at this point in the game is gonna snowball you in a slightly better position into relation to your enemy. It's a small and slow snowballing process, and at some point the snowball is going to be so big the opponent can no longer stop it with the force they've got in their arms, in their hands, in their body, in their mind. Comes in over the bottom side, starts unloading a little bit to distract the bunker, arrives on the scene there in the back. Temples are reloading, Temples are too far away from the SCVs there though, tries to get closer, but the shuttle gets sniped out of the air, so he storms on SCVs that are on the gas and gets at least a couple of kills, better than killing nothing. But Byul so far has been doing a great job defending against the shielded attack there from GangNamLife. The choke is pretty strong, the sides are all turreted up, he still has that 5 barrack production. Got level 2 weapon attack there on the way, I believe. That's level 2 weapon attack. Not a lot of players bother getting level 2 weapon attack. But I think getting level 2 weapon attack when you are relying on Marines this heavily to defend, I think it is one of the best choices you can make, because the opponent is going to keep upgrading their shuttles and their air units. He doesn't have the upgrades yet, the armor upgrades, but they will soon be on the way. Starts unloading there on the top corner to kill those turrets, but there are some tanks on the high ground which are stopping that plan. So Byul really is setting himself up with every single detail you can imagine. And honestly, I might be doubting a little bit whether this is actually Byul or whether I'm watching a player like Gensei. Because for as far as I know, Byul is not a consistent 300 APM player, and this barcode has been playing on 300 APM for the entire time, which usually means it is more likely to be Minchul, also known as Gensei, than Byul. But who knows, maybe Byul just had a really good day physically and was able to keep up the 300 APM. GangNamLife still on low minerals, he's still spending really quick. A lot of gateways all over the place, got Stargates there as well, and he's gonna come in over the bottom corner there into Byul's base, gonna fly right in. Byul knows it's coming though, because he's been scanning non-stop. Marines are there on the scene, gonna try to snipe and target fire the shuttles. One shuttle goes down, shuttles arriving there next to the SCV, starts unloading, but are there any Templars still left in there? As it's always mostly Zealots. Gonna try to get some damage on those SCVs with the splash damage from the tanks, but nope, SCVs are running away to safety. The shuttle with the Templars went down first. Bad luck there for GangNamLife, and a little bit of lucky gas work there for Byul. Everything worked out just perfectly fine for him. And now, oh, another drop there comes in while he's not paying attention. It arrives on the scene unopposed. Templar there on the scene. Templar gonna storm. Templar doesn't have any. Templar storms. How many kills? Oh, it went down for about 74 to 44. He killed a lot of them SCVs. He killed a lot of SCVs there, and that was a great drop there from GangNamLife. The double hit combination attack. One drop comes in. It fails. Makes the opponent feel safe. They drop their guard, they stop paying 100% attention, and then, when you least expect it, another shuttle drop appears and kills your workers. I've had it happen to myself a couple of times, and boy, do you feel bad when it happens, because you were defending so well, but nope. A surprise shuttle shows up at the front door, knocks it down, and he's gonna have some really tough questions for you to answer. So a little bit of frontal pressure just to make sure that the tanks are splash damaging on the bunkers, while a drop is going to come in from the bottom corner. Armors there are finishing up. He's going to unload on the bottom corner instead of flying all the way in for the command center, because he saw the ghosts from earlier. So now the goal is to just pretty much kill anything he can, because the ghosts in the back are going to lock down the shuttles if he gets close. So unload in the bottom corner and just run those zealots into the fight. And maybe storm some Marines, storm some tanks, and maybe even storm some SCVs there in the back. EMP there on the Templars. Templars lose their energy. I think one Templar still has energy left there, though. Oh, a second EMP. Oh, Byul defending this one really nicely. Tanks coming from the front to the back to defend. We see two more supply depots in the front have gone down to splash damage. Another drop there coming in over the northern side. Going to fly in over this very well fortified section. This bottom corner has lost a lot of turrets, but not as many as you could have lost, because GangNamLife kind of got stuck. His zealots got stuck behind the Templars. Oh, small little mistake. Sends the Corsairs in first without the shuttle, so now he's going to fly back home. That's a little mistake. He wanted to send the shuttles in with the Corsairs, but just a little misclick. So, more Corsairs flying across the map, and a lot of shuttles there as well. This is going to be a massive shuttle drop, and let's see what the upgrades are at the moment. 212's upgrades are actually exceptionally good. Level 1 armor, level 1 shield, level 1 weapon for the air, and 212 for the ground. Whereas Byul is currently level 2 marine attack, getting level 3. Tanks are in 2-2. 2-2 tanks already, only 15 minutes in. Byul is really good at getting upgrades. So you're low to the bottom corner. Once again, there's a lockdown there as well. Storms on some Marines and Ghosts. Now the tanks are getting stormed there in the corner as well. The frontal attack, they are marching in just to deal a little bit of damage on two fronts at the same time. Zealots are going to clear out those turrets and run towards the tanks there. Another storm there on the tank. More Templars moving forward. So pretty good storms there. Pretty good attacks there from GangNamLife. He's keeping Byul occupied with defending instead of maybe attacking. He's preventing Byul from being comfortable, but Byul is defending really, really well. I think he only took significant damage just once with one drop, and everything else so far hasn't quite managed to connect how GangNamLife wants it to. I see a start of shield batteries for carriers. They're on the side. Byul is not yet moving out, putting tanks on the high ground to prevent cannons from being built against the base walls. He's probably going to build a lot of shield batteries here on the side as well. Getting cannons on the middle to slow Byul down when Byul wants to attack. A lot of shuttles are out there flying across the map. He's probably preparing a carrier Stargate base here on the top corner. He's mining from, I'd say, about 7 gas here back at home. 6 gas, actually. He's got the fleet beacon finished up. Gonna go with a small, with a big frontal drop attack. Gonna drop right on top of the tanks and the Marines. Storms on the tanks. Although the tank shots from all over the place are doing a lot of damage. The Zealots are largely still alive. The Marines did a great job there in clearing out the army. But the fact he's got tanks spread out all over his base is making it very hard to simply drop on top of units. Because the tank spread is so well done that pretty much anything that gets dropped inside of Byul's base is going to take a lot of tank shots. So even though he killed that entire frontal army, they're in the choke. Byul has enough units still left alive and spawning and in production that this isn't really a concern for him at the moment. And yeah, we've got a gateway base coming here on the side. Not a proxy Stargate base, it's going to be a gateway base. Here in his main base, he's got 10, 12, 17 gateways in total. So we'll probably get about another 12 here on the side, maybe even 16. He's going to be on a lot of gateways. His main base, I said earlier, had 17 plus 16, going to be 33, or 33 gateways in total. He's getting a nexus here on the side for a proxy gas base. Byul, though, is not planning on giving GangNamLife any more time to grow bigger and stronger, so he's going to go and start pushing out with the tank army, marine army there into the middle. But GangNamLife has got different plans. Unloads right on top of the tanks, oozing through the front door there, going to storm all the tanks and start marching in with those maxed out upgraded Zealots. But so are the tanks. It's going to be a maxed out army against a maxed out army in terms of upgrades and supply. But GangNamLife clears out the entire pathway. All the tanks and Marines are gone. Great job there, but he kind of has to go back and rebuild his army. He kind of has to go back. So both players continuously kind of losing a lot of supply, but then, you know, they also lose their fighting power along with their supply. So both players losing units, rebuilding units, and it's going to be probably somewhat of a rinse and repeat of that same process a couple of times over and over until one of the two players manages to land a really big, strong hit on the other players, their economy. GangNamLife comes in from the top side. There's Valkyries in between. He sees the Valkyrie, so he starts to unload, but there's tanks there within range to fire on the Reavers and the Templars. Two Templars are stuck there. He cannot storm on the tanks on the high ground. He didn't want to storm, but the second storm didn't come in. And now our front attack is happening once again, but we have more tanks on the high ground, and the tanks are not sieging up because the tanks on the high ground are being very annoying and doing most of the real big damaging work. So the Dragoons are coming in. Dragoons are trying to kill as much as they can. Going to kill the tank on the high ground. Great control there from GangNamLife. And start pushing forward a little bit more to get those tanks at least a little bit damaged or kill a couple of them. The Reaver dropped on the bottom on the top corner. Sadly for GangNamLife, didn't work out as he wanted to. The Valkyrie's just hanging there. Big party poopers denying the attempt to kill the SCVs and the command center. But Byul also has about 12, 14, 16, 20 ghosts in the back with lockdown researched. So even if things do get through, the question is going to be, is Byul gonna lock those shuttles down? So a couple underneath there hunting down a Templar. This is a 12 gateway base. We have the gas there being prepared there on this 1 o'clock base. Gonna start mining a little bit more gas to finance his carriers. Although I don't see a carrier proxy base yet. So he might not even go for the carriers, but he did get maximized air upgrades and he did get carrier capacity. Which kind of does make me believe the carriers will probably be entering the battle at some point. But when, I don't know. Byul's still scanning the entire map. He wants to see where shuttles are coming in from. Drop comes in the bottom corner. He responds immediately with a triple. Wow, that was the fastest ghost lockdown on 3 separate shuttles I've ever seen in my life. That was instantaneously 1, 2, 3, all lockdown. So drops might be entirely off the table at the moment. Because I don't see how GangNamLife is going to get through. Because Byul has some of the best map awareness out of anyone I've ever seen. I think that is his best strength, is map awareness. You will not get through unnoticed. It won't happen. He's gonna see everything coming in and take it down and defend himself really, well, I don't want to say easily, but he's gonna defend himself. We've got a Stargate army, well, base coming up there on 9 o'clock. GangNamLife is still gonna try with the shuttle drops because you have to try. You have to try and kill those SCVs because if the Terran becomes too rich, they will kill their own SCVs and then replace all that SCV supply with more tanks, Goliaths, and Valkyries. And at that point, as a Protoss, you are in trouble because your army is going to get basically outnumbered. Unloading there on top of the tanks, lockdowns on both shuttles. Great job there from Byul. Never really seen anyone use ghosts quite as effectively as this. It's a really interesting play here from Byul. A lot of storms are coming in, Dragoons and Zealots, they're pushing through, tanks are retreating back to their home base, where they might be in trouble. There's still some tanks up on the high ground, there's a defensive Matrix there on 2 tanks in the front. This one tank here is completely screwing GangNamLife up. Temples are pulling back, a lot of vessels here in the air, a lot of vessels. Does not have huge tank armies, because we got 4 vessels with his 8 supply. Then we have a lot of Valkyries as well, 9 of them, and I think they are 2 or 3 supply each. So a lot of supply here in air units for Byul. Valkyries, vessels, a lot of ghosts as well, although a bunch of ghosts have gone down by now. Both players really going at it pretty hard. GangNamLife very rich, 88 probes. He might want to kill a couple of probes to open up some army space. That will definitely help him out. And here we can see, Byul just went down from 64, 66 SCVs down to 41, and which means he killed this side of his SCVs to open up supply space because he feels he's rich enough to no longer need 60 SCVs. He's going to be fine with 40. And I think this is about a group of 12 here on the minerals and another 30 here on the gas. Or maybe a little bit less than 30, because if there's 12 here and 30 on the gas, it would be 42, and he's got 41 SCVs. So tanks moving into the middle. He's got some dropships there in the mix as well. An army from GangNamLife there on the middle to try and defend and buy time. We got carriers on the way here on the 9 o'clock base. But Byul knows it's coming. Byul scanned it. Byul has been scanning the entire map for the entire game, all over the place. And he spotted out the carrier proxy base. And he's going to go for the attack on that carrier proxy base. And GangNamLife going to try to buy himself some time to get those carriers finished up because he really needs those carriers because a ground army is not going to win against this absolutely massive army from Byul. And GangNamLife also stormed his own SCVs to death from 88 probes down to 35. I think he still has 1 group of probes there on the minerals. So both players kind of functioning on the same amount of income. But GangNamLife is losing money faster than Byul because he's losing more units, has to replace more units because the tanks generally, they don't really die that much. So the carriers are going to try to finish up those carriers. They're very close to finishing up. Oh, great unload there on top of the tanks. The Templars cleaning out all the tanks as well with the storms. Was ready to clear out the backline as well. Didn't have enough storms and zealots, but now more zealots are coming in. Gonna clean that out. So both players losing money rapidly. GangNamLife a little bit faster. Only one single carrier finished up there for GangNamLife. A little bit of a bummer for him. But he's going to start making a new carrier proxy base here on the 1 o'clock base. Got a big fight breaking out here on the middle with GangNamLife trying to push back on those tanks and Goliaths. But he's burning through his money really quick and he might have to build new probes. Because I think Byul is going to outlast GangNamLife in this specific situation. We've got a little bit of a scrappy fights going on. A lot of units are coming from the top corner, entering the middle, getting a surround and a flank on the tanks on the middle. But there's so many tanks and Goliaths and Dragoons that I'm not sure this is going to do it. Although he gets behind the tanks. The tanks have a way to micro out of there, but now units are coming from the front door as well. Got one carrier there fighting against those vessels. Army here on the middle is surrounded, gonna get taken down, but Byul is already making a new tank army here back at home. And GangNamLife has burned through most of his money. He went from 17,000 all the way down to 5,000. He really burned through all that money really quick. So he's pulling probes from the gas and putting them on the minerals and praying that that is gonna be enough to help him through the next phase of the game. So Zealot Dragoon there meeting an army of tanks, a couple of tanks on the high front, tanks are sieging up, Goliaths in the front protecting the tanks, got storms are in the back, ready to storm on those tanks, one storm, two storms on every single sieged up tank, but his tanks don't die to a single storm, so they're still somewhat alive, barely alive, but still alive to deal a little bit more damage. Valkyrie's hunting down the shuttle there on the middle. He's preparing a drop here next to his robos, but oh, the Reaver there, not going to have a shuttle to transport it anytime soon. So really big armies from both players with really low worker counts. But as I said before, the situation is favorable for Byul. He's burning through his money way less fast than GangNamLife is. Great storm there on the front, kills a couple tanks. Trying to set up for a surround here on the middle. All GangNamLife has to do is break through convincingly, just once, and he could win the game through sheer numbers. Overpowering the tank army on the middle. Gets a great surround, getting in behind. Oh, flanking from every single direction. On top of the tanks, tanks are dying really quick. More tanks are spawning there back at home. Dragoons are finishing off the tanks and Goliaths, and most of his army is still alive. Going to try to break through the middle here. Unloads a Reaver on top of those tanks, but it goes down before it can really do anything. Got more Templar storms here moving forward. Ready to storm on those tanks. Tanks are not sieged up. Dragoons are entering the fray as well. One storm. Does he have a second storm? Does not have a second storm. Ooh, more units are coming from the base there. Going across the map. More tanks have finished up and are sieging up. That will probably be just enough to keep GangNamLife's army out of his base. Close call there. Close call. If he had another storm earlier, he could have probably killed most of the tanks there in the front. But sometimes just having one unit with just not enough energy or just not enough health can really make the difference in winning or losing a game. So the Valkyries there in the front keep killing the shuttles. He's not allowed to get another drop off on his opponent. He's burning through his money, as I said before, all the way down to 1,500 minerals. And he isn't building new probes. He's just gambling on overpowering Byul at some point with a bigger army. Is it going to work? Or is this going to be Byul's game? Byul is also burning through. He's now down to 4,000. Started at 15,000 or so. His army is really, really massive. Getting some dropship into the mix as well. Going to put those dropships on high grounds, probably inside of GangNamLife's choke, but GangNamLife has got a big army here on the middle, ready to flank and attack when Byul moves out. But Byul is in fact not going to move out. He's setting up defensive positions. He's setting himself up to defend and go for a counterattack. Got some shuttles there in the air, ready to unload on top of the tanks on the high ground. Is he gonna do it? Comes in, starts unloading there on top of the tanks in the middle. Storming, Reaver shoots. Reaver, oh, he kills a lot here. But the tanks on the high ground are really, really being... Oh, wait, I think he did it. I think he did it. Tanks on the high ground are going down. Storming on the dropships. The dropships are eating up a lot of supply. And oh, the dropships are not empty. They're full with tanks. So for a moment there, it looked really scary. Although more tanks coming down. More storms are coming down on the tanks. And the tanks are all clumped up, all balled up on a single spot. So most of the tanks did get stormed to death. Now the question is going to be, does GangNamLife have an army as a follow-up on this attack? It doesn't look like it. If GangNamLife had more money, I think he could have ended the game right there with a second wave coming in. But the fact he's so broke, he's broke as fuck, he simply couldn't build another army fast enough. And Byul has built some new SCVs because Byul is realizing my bank has grown pretty small, I might need more workers. So he is remedying the low income by beefing up his worker count. Whereas GangNamLife is still playing on, well, low money. He doesn't have much money. It's going to be the big issue that's going to win or break the game. And Byul is once again setting himself up for a great defense. A lot of tanks here back at home on the high ground. And pretty much his entire army is reproduced. It's back and ready to fight. But GangNamLife is having real trouble maxing out. He's in 142 supply. He's finally building probes, trying to buy himself some time. Byul is moving forward a little bit, using those tanks at the high ground to set himself up with a better defensive position. But he's unloading on top of the high ground there, so most of the tanks are going to go down. Ooh, beautiful unload. That was really beautifully done. One tank there, though, survives. It survives. Ooh, is he gonna... Yeah, it survived. It survived. Really good unsiege on all of the tanks to make sure at least one tank on the high ground stayed alive. Now back on 43 probes. A little bit low on gas. Only having double Nexus isn't really producing those probes that fast, but he's buying himself a lot of time here. But in the meantime, while GangNamLife is recovering from a small economy, we have Byul here on the other side with a maxed out army, 57 SCVs, and once again, almost on a bank worth 10,000 minerals. Both players fully maxed out. Valkyries, though, might be in the wrong position. He has one ghost in the back. Drop there, gonna fly across. Gonna go straight for the minerals. Got a one ghost, two ghosts. Lockdown on two shuttles. Triple shuttle lockdown. Beautifully done with only double ghost. So he, in fact, cannot kill the SCVs. If this one had hit, it would have been the end of the game. So army meets army here on the middle. Really well spread out. Snipes the Templars manually. But the army is still way too big for Byul to fight into. The Zealots are overpowering really, really quickly, really easily. But now we have tanks on the high ground that are going to be the party poopers for GangNamLife. This GangNamLife is not going to be able to walk through this passage without getting completely messed up by those tanks on the high ground. But in fact, he pulls back. And because the Valkyries are protecting the tanks on the high ground, he cannot use his shuttle to unload on the high ground to kill those tanks. But GangNamLife now on 45 probes and still building new probes. His army is growing a little bit faster than before. Almost maxed out, despite losing most of his army on that fight on the middle. Both players really do seem evenly matched. Both players really do seem like this is a match that is of equals. A match between equals. I like when both players really do seem evenly matched. Although Byul has been making somewhat better choices, I must admit. But GangNamLife is waiting for Byul to move out. Byul is using all the time that GangNamLife is using to build a couple more probes, to max out, and to wait for the surround, to place some mines on the middle. We do have an observer there. The observer, of course, to spot out the mines because he was expecting the mines. More army there coming from the top side. So 51 probes, which means 51 supply for workers and 149 supply for army. Ooh, massive dropship army there moving across the map. Is he gonna try to kill the Nexus in the command center? Oh, he sets up on the high ground. Does Byul have any Templars? Nah, a couple of them, but not a lot of them. It's mostly a lot of Zealots. Storms on the high ground. Double Storm. Kills most. Ooh, a good unload there on the high ground with those two Templars there on the hill. So most of the tanks do go down, but those two Zealots are kind of stuck here. Yeah, they almost get on top of it. Almost get on top of it. So Byul pulls back. GangNamLife once again moves into the middle. Puts some more Zealots up on the high ground to finish off those tanks. Mines being placed on the middle. He's kind of trying to catch any units that come from this 11 o'clock base with mines. He's trying to catch them while they're moving about. GangNamLife hasn't really built new probes for gas. He's kind of just way too focused on fighting on the middle and catching Byul with a surround with a maxed out army. But it hasn't really worked out as you wanted to. He got close a couple of times, but Byul has been steadily improving his position as the game goes on. He's steadily been growing bigger, richer, and stronger, whereas GangNamLife is growing a little bit poorer every single time a fight breaks out. So we've got a lot of tanks here set up with some Goliaths in the front. Tanks are slowly unsieging and moving forward. Goes in with a surround attack. There might simply be too many tanks here. GangNamLife rebuilding his army. Great storms once again. The storms have really been making the difference for GangNamLife. Really just storming entire tank lines to death. We got some reinforcements here on the scene. We got some tanks there stuck on the high ground to defend. A lot of drops there on the bottom corner. Setting up now here in the choke. The game is starting to look really bad now for GangNamLife, because how is he going to clear out all the tanks that Byul has and keep sending across the map? Byul now on 12,000 minerals. It might soon be time that he's going to open up some supply space to build more tanks. He might kill some dropships. He's unloading marines from the bunkers and sending them across the map. There's going to be 12 extra supply for more tanks. Tanks here sieging up. Zealots are on the hunt, moving in. Getting on top of the tanks. Isn't really killing a lot of those tanks there, though. Although more units coming from the side, but getting caught in the mines. These mines might drag into the tanks here, though. Ooh, the mines just wouldn't explode. So storming. Pushing him back. EMP on the Templars, but I think they already used their storms. But quite a good amount of tanks and Goliaths survived for Byul. And we got new reinforcements already moving across the map. The Marines have gone down and are being replaced by more tanks. GangNamLife once again on low money. Still has a lot of Dragoons. Oh, he forgot about these Dragoons. He's got 12 Dragoons there on a corner and he forgot about them. If those Dragoons were fighting on the middle, he would definitely win those fights on the middle really easily. But he simply seems to have forgotten about them because so much is going on, so much is happening. He's so focused on not dying to Byul. There's Dragoons here in the top corner. A little bit of an oversight that might just decide the game. Imagine if those 12 Dragoons are fighting. Reaver's unloading, Reaver's shooting. Reaver's not really killing much. Going out the frontal row. Dragoons coming in from the left. Look, it looks like GangNamLife's army is simply too small without those Dragoons there. Without those Dragoons, he's not going to have a big enough army. Ever. It's never going to be enough. It's never ever going to be enough. The tanks on the high ground. Byul playing at lightning speed. As fast as he can. Those Dragoons coming in from the side there, but getting tripped out and killed by the tanks on the high ground. And GangNamLife calls GG. If only he had used those Dragoons there on the top corner, he would have... I think he would have won. Maybe not, because we still have tanks on the high ground here and here. Well, they're no longer here because they got relocated to here. But I really think those Dragoons there could have changed the result. Or at least extended the inevitable. If GangNamLife was going to lose 100%. But Byul there performs a really strong Terran. I am impressed. The lockdowns were beautiful. Really good anti-drop defense. As usual, I think that's one of his strongest skills, the anti-drop defense, his map awareness. You're not gonna get through. He's gonna keep defending. But if you do get through and hit him hard, it's gonna be difficult for Byul to keep up with your playing speed. He really relies on his map awareness, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just my opinion. He really relies on map awareness. Anyway, that's it for today from RJB here on RJB TV. Leave a comment, leave a like, leave a subscribe. Do what you want. The power is in your hands. It just helps the YouTube algorithm. It helps people to notice me because of how the YouTube algorithm works. More engagement from viewers is going to put my video higher on the recommended list for people who search for StarCraft. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but that's kind of what I assume it does. Not quite sure. Anyway, we're going to get a part number 2 in the next video, so please do come back when I upload, yet again, another video here on RJBTV YouTube channel.